Mr. Davison, it seems there's not really a good understanding of what middle mile infrastructure exists in the U.S. and how you can ensure that those funds from the IIJA middle mile grant program aren't duplicating the broadband funding. So how do we keep that from happening?
Well, I think we're very keen on making sure these programs are additive, not kind of conflicting or duplicative. I mean, I know on some level, $42 billion is a lot of money. On another level, given the mission, it's not enough if we're not careful about how we use it. Middle mile programs only is $1 billion. We're going to be very careful. We've gotten a lot of input already about how we will best use it. We're being very thoughtful about it. It's not going to be a last mile program like the BEAD state grant program.
Sure.
It's going to be about something that we use that's going to, the hope is that it's additive and it helps make things more affordable. It helps fuel deployments in rural areas by providing that backbone that then other providers can piggyback on.
Well, and we that's what we're wanting to happen. What we're afraid is though the duplication of it. I mean, my district in Oklahoma is the least connected district in the country. Less than 50% of District 2 of Oklahoma is connected to reliable internet service, and it's very expensive and hard to get the middle mile, much less the last mile, put in place. And so we just want to make sure it's used appropriatly. Yeah.
I say your connection looks pretty good right now, actually. So
well, that's because I'm sitting in Tulsa in the middle of my truck, and I'm using Ford Wi-Fi. That's a true story. So but we do have our electric co-ops are the ones that's providing a lot of service. Plus, our telecoms are providing a lot of broadband for our last mile to get to it. But it's now been over a year since we appropriated the $300 million to the NTIA for the broadband infrastructure program. When do you think they're going to start awarding those grants?
I think it will be very soon. There were two conflicting things in the statute. One said, "Here's the shot clock." Another said, "Make sure you give people a chance to cure their applications." And we just basically had to choose, and we chose to delay the program in order to give people the chance to be able to make sure that their applications were good. And we're very glad we did that because we have some great applications. People who just, administrative stuff, they just needed to fix their application. We just needed to go back to them, do it. And I think you'll see, in the near future, those grants will be coming out.
Right. My last question is the IIJA allows for 25% matching fund requirements to be met by other federal funding. How are we assuring that the first-time applicants are financially viable to receive these awards?
It's an important question. We've been talking about it. I think it needs to be done carefully to make sure that we are, being prudent with our money and make sure that the people who get it have viability. I think, the match is an important piece of that. We're looking at lots of different creative ways. It may be that the match in some cases, anyway, maybe too low, and maybe that becomes a piece of it too. But I would say the key thing here is that we know the match is important. We know financial viability of subgrantees is important. Ultimately, the states will decide how they're going to build their programs, but we are going to put some baseline rules in there, and particularly around oversight to make sure that we have viable programs and that people don't just disappear on us. We don't want that to happen. That's not going to serve anybody well.
Thank you, Mr. Davison. Thank you so much for your time. And Chairman, I'll yield back.